This is Nicola, a Cabrillo college student. 72% of her educational expenses go towards buying textbooks. On average, a student like her will spend $900 a year on textbooks. In a classroom of 30 students, that amounts to $27,000 a year.
I think the whole industry is sort of odd in that it's got to be almost the only thing I'm aware of where the person who makes the purchase decision is not the person who spends the money.
We only have a choice now of about maybe 4 publishers for textbooks. So the cost is really, really difficult to control, especially if you want to get a new textbook.
For many students, it's the most expensive single thing that they pay for to go to college, and clearly can be a hurdle for many.
I want to make the materials that I'm teaching as accessible and as broad as I possibly can.
Educating everyone and making everyone aware of the issues and how they, in their particular role, can help keep costs down is really important.
So the future, I think there's just going to be a lot more options. I think, that day and age of where every single class has one big heavy textbook that you buy at the bookstore, clearly that's changing.
I've definitely had to opt out of buying a textbook because of the price, and drop the class and then try to take it another semester, and honestly I still haven't gotten back to that class just because the textbook was so expensive.
Yeah, last semester I had to buy a book for math, and it was $80 I think, around that. And I got it off the internet. For that month, I had to survive like on oats and granola and stuff like that, and I couldn't eat like as much as before.
I usually get behind a week or 2 in classes just trying to work off the cost of books. To me, nothing's more important than getting through school, and so I've never let the cost of a book prohibit me from doing it. That said, I've definitely chosen classes based on nothing but the price of the book.
If we can reduce the price of textbooks and if we can get teachers on board, it's so important for students in all community colleges.
The alternative that I'm using in my history classes is a customized textbook, which is something I worked out with the representative from the publishing company that produces the book. And I made that decision probably about 2.5 years ago, and it was shaped by just how expensive textbooks were, how expensive they were. The students would tell me how much money they were spending when they came back from the bookstore. It seemed pretty outrageous.
I use several alternative methods of textbooks for my students. One is custom books, which is where I get to work with the rep and I go through the textbook and I choose which chapters I really need to focus on, or even which parts of chapters. I can even remove sections of chapters.
I'm really glad that there was this option to get a customized version of the textbook and take 20 bucks out of the price.
I have not really hit any major roadblocks in trying to use alternative materials.
I find that the readers really benefit the way that I teach because it allows for students to take more responsibility for information that I want them to have.
Any textbook you buy and order as a faculty member, if it's published in 2008, especially in political science, a lot of the information in there is at least a year old. A reader, you can pick an article that was just published 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So this can be more up to date.
It allows me to take pieces of important writings and for students to experience a different kind of level of engagement other than straight text.
You send in a list of the readings, they go and contact all of the publishers, They investigate all the copyright costs per page, and they're generally per page. And then they will get back to you, and last year they were really good at getting back to me very quickly, within a week, about what the reader would cost for them to print and publish.
One reason I started making readers is because I found that the textbooks that I usually chose, they left out what I considered to be very important information and details that students needed.
With a reader like this as the instructor, you can control what goes in it directly, because you select all the articles that go in it, and also you can control the price.
We already have an electronic reserve system that you can find the things on a computer and you get their little number, and then we give it to you and we wand it out with a barcode. So it's really efficient in terms of once it's in the system and on the shelf, we can circulate it, I guess that's the word we use, check it in and out fairly fast, barcode wanding, and the same staff working here do those jobs. Getting that book in the system involves all the faculty here turning in their textbook requests right on time in mid-spring. I think it's a wonderful thing the students did, was give us the opportunity to run around, assemble these books every semester, and then let people choose to buy their book or discipline themselves and use the book at the library.
There's so much information that we can now get for free that if there's ways to make sure that we can maintain the quality of our educational experience with resources that don't cost very much, that seems to be a no-brainer for what we should be doing here at Cabrillo.
Not only is the textbook, the impact of the textbooks big, but there's an education piece that goes along with that. I think that if students are aware that one of the reasons why this effort is important is beyond the cost, which is important for them, that we think it's important as faculty for the environment, that gives them a message, which I think is an important one.
I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but I think there'll be more options with textbook rental programs, with stuff that's online, and just keeping books recycled within the institution. And again, faculty working with publishers to find ways to bring the price down.
With all the different techniques that are available, that's what's needed, is to take this conversation beyond the sidewalk and to a more institutional, a more effective way to as a college, lower the cost of textbooks.
Changing the way we use, buy, and produce textbooks will have a positive impact overall.
This is a really good step, and it has to be, vigilant every semester, every year, because we have new adjunct, we have new faculty, and the world keeps changing.
How do you do that?